Are you looking to have an energetic dog join your family and can't decide between a Border Collie or an Australian Shepherd? Both breeds are so similar, so find out what makes each one different from the other. Here are the 7 key differences between Border Collie versus Australian Shepherd. Number 7. Breed history. Border Collies were bred as herding dogs thousands of years ago. To understand the Border Collie, we need a quick history lesson. The Romans invaded Britain in 43 AD. Then, shortly after, the Vikings invaded the Romans. The end. Possibly the shortest history lesson ever. But it is important here because the Border Collie was bred from the Romans' large herding dogs and the Vikings' preceding herding dog, which we know to be the Icelandic sheepdog. Today's Border Collie is agile and intelligent, bred to herd and work the rocky terrain of Wales and Scotland. Because of the good nature of the Border Collie, they are a popular dog to cross with other dog breeds to make designer dogs like the Borador. The Border Collie has been ranked by veterinarians as the most intelligent dog breed in the world, and if you have ever seen them in action, then it is easy to see why. They are the Einstein of dogs. Aussies were also bred as herding dogs and are thought to be descendants of Border Collies. The Australian Shepherd dog has a somewhat confusing history, and there is much debate as to where he comes from. The most agreed upon theory is that his ancestors were from the Pyrenees in Spain and the Scottish Highlands, where shepherds sailed to Australia in search of better land. The settlers realized they could not farm as they had wished due to Central Australia's arid landscape, and so they sailed to North America along with other shepherds from Australia. They are often compared to the Australian cattle dog. It is believed that it was in North America that Americans created their perfect herding dog, using the previously mentioned breeds. It is presumed that as they had just arrived from Australia, they named him the Australian Shepherd. However, he is no more Australian than he is Spanish or Scottish, and really is more American. Australian Shepherds are also popular with the designer dog crowd, being bred recently with the Labrador to create the Aussidor breed. Number 6. Appearance. The Border Collie and the Australian Shepherd look very similar. This might be due to the fact that the Australian Shepherd was bred from the Collie centuries ago, although this is not officially recorded. They are both considered to be medium-sized dogs and are almost the same height, give or take 1 inch. The Australian Shepherd is heavier at an average of 10 pounds. The colors in which the two breeds are available vary. The Border Collie comes in a wider variety of colors: black, blue, blue merle, brindle, gold, lilac, red, red merle, sable, sable merle, saddleback sable, white and black, white and blue merle, white and red merle, white ticked. Whereas the Australian Shepherd is officially recognized in only 4 colors: black, blue merle, red, red merle. Further to the variety of colors, there are also several different markings that their coat can take on. The Collie has 7 different markings and the Australian Shepherd has only 3. The Collie clearly wins on the color contest. However, with all the different color variations on both breeds, more so than the average pooch, you really are spoiled for choice. The Collie's coat can come in both short and rough varieties, and his tail is long and plump. The Australian Shepherd's coat is usually long and dense, with an undercoat and an outer coat to protect him from the elements. The Australian's tail is usually long. However, he is sometimes naturally born with a bobbed tail. The Australian Shepherd's eyes can come in many different colors, and he is more likely to have 1 eye of each color compared to the Collie. This is called heterochromia. Number 5. Temperament. Both the Border Collie and the Australian Shepherd are intelligent workaholics. Their minds rarely rest and must both be stimulated throughout the day. However, high energy can also mean a lot of fun. As long as you have the energy to keep playing, you will never run out of things to do with either of these guys around. fetch, football, or frisbee. Both these guys are the champion of them all. Both the Border Collie and the Australian Shepherd are sociable creatures. The Border Collie, like the Australian Shepherd, can become very attached to their family and are very loving. However, the Border Collie is more likely to be wary of strangers or those with whom he is not familiar yet. Generally, the Australian Shepherd is the heart and soul of the party and gets along with everyone immediately. The Collie is said to have superior herding instincts to that of the Australian Shepherd, and they have been known to attempt herding small children or other pets in the household. So, if you do have a young family or other pets, then this is something to consider. Number 4. Exercise. The best way for both breeds to burn energy is through physical activities with mental stimulation, like agility courses. The Border Collie and the Australian Shepherd are high-energy dogs. If you cannot give these guys time and intense activity, you may want to consider other breeds. To ensure that neither of the breeds become bored, you could train them to herd. But if you don't happen to live on a farm, then there are other things you can do to entertain them. Firstly, they both need at least 60 minutes of high-level exercise a day. But it doesn't stop there. They'll need to be stimulated throughout the day, either through social tug-of-war games or agility sports such as frisbee or doggy assault courses. If you must leave your pup alone for a few hours, then be sure to leave out a puzzle treat toy, because if either of these dogs become restless, they will embark on Mission Destroy. Number 3. Training. As the Border Collie and the Australian Shepherd are such intelligent pups, they pick up commands quickly and are relatively easy to train. With that being said, these guys are not for the novice owner. As they are so intelligent, they require to be worked a lot. So, if you do not rise to the challenge, then it will not be long until they outsmart you or become bored. The Border Collie is sometimes known to have a protective streak. They can often be wary of strangers and other animals. Socialization from a young age is important to raise any well-mannered pup, but particularly important for pooches who can be overprotective or aggressive. In order to raise an obedient canine companion, positive reinforcement training is the key. Follow these 4 simple steps. Choose short words such as sit, come, stay, etc. for the desired behaviors that you want to teach. Consistency is important, so ensure that everyone who interacts with your pup also uses the exact same command words. As soon as your pooch performs the desired behavior, treat him immediately with a small treat and verbal praise. In the early stages, this means treats should always be handy and initially make a big positive fuss. Generally reduce the number of treats once the dog begins to learn the command, but continue to verbally praise him every time. Positive reinforcement training should be consistent and maintained to ensure he keeps up the good work. Number 2, health. As with a lot of dogs, both breeds are prone to elbow and hip dysplasia later in life, which is where the affected joints are abnormally formed and can cause painful arthritis. They are also susceptible to eye problems such as progressive renal atrophy, cataracts, and Collie eye anomaly, which is actually more prevalent in the Aussie than the Collies. Another health issue that affects both breeds is multi-drug sensitivity. Simply put, this is where the gene that transports certain prescribed drugs out of or away from the brain is faulty, and the toxicity of the drugs poison them. When you visit the veterinarian, be sure to remind them that they are sufferers of MDS, just to be on the safe side. Roughly 10% of Border Collies are said to be born with trapped neutrophil syndrome. This is where white blood cells are not released correctly from his bone marrow, which in turn prevents his immune system from fighting diseases. Most collies develop symptoms of this at around 7 months of age and can die shortly after. Number 1. Nutrition and grooming. Since both breeds are highly active dogs, a high-calorie kibble is recommended. The Border Collie and the Australian Shepherd are similar in regards to nutrition. They will both eat approximately 2.5 cups a day of good quality, high-calorie food. If they are very active, then they may need slightly more than this, or less if they aren't as active. Both the Collie and the Aussie aren't particularly food-oriented. They would much rather work for a reward such as a ball. Therefore, neither of these guys are likely to develop obesity compared to other breeds. The Border Collie has a slightly rougher coat than the Aussie, which demands more of your attention. As both the Border Collie and the Australian Shepherds are active dogs, they're likely to get dirty. Both breeds will require monthly baths to keep them clean and in top condition. More frequent bathing will damage their coat's natural oils, which can make their skin very dry and itchy. In between washes, you can use doggy wipes or doggy dry shampoo to keep them smelling fresh. Since it is likely these guys will spend many hours a week running around fields and forests, they are prone to attract ticks and other nasty critters. Ticks attach themselves to dogs and feed off their blood. In regard to grooming, the Collie requires slightly more attention, as he has a rougher coat than the Aussie. His coat will require brushing 2 or 3 times a week to ensure that it is kept healthy and glossy, and to prevent knots from forming. The Australian Shepherd has longer hair, but it is smoother, so he doesn't require as much attention. A weekly brush will be enough to keep this pooch looking good. The Aussie sheds about as much as a Border Collie, with just a different feel to their coat. Nail trimming, tooth brushing, and bathing are required just the same as any other dog. Which one of them you like the most? Please subscribe to The Amazing Dogs. Thanks for watching.